Hello, my name is Rip Yeagerman. The shoebox strategy is the most important strategy to understand in order to grow our money. So that most people will understand more easily, I broke this strategy down into 4 easy to understand videos. The first of the 4 is you finance everything you buy. The second of the 4 is finance yourself. The third of the 4 is shoebox bank. And the fourth of the 4 is family bank. Before these videos end, you're going to learn how to grow your money without any risk or taxes. And you will learn how to grow your money without any risk or taxes in less than 10 minutes a week. But I want to start by addressing one of the biggest issues that I have with what I'm about to share with you. It is too simple. Really. Robert P. Murphy is an economist of the Austrian School of Economics, and I absolutely love what he says. It's almost like it's so straightforward that sophisticated people overanalyze it and miss it. This is exactly what I see happen time after time after time. Most people overcomplicate the simple thing that we're trying to do, grow our money without any risk or taxes. Furthermore, it is not your fault that this happens. Our society has been programming us from the very beginning of our lives, right? Boys are supposed to do this and girls are supposed to do that. Go to school, go to college. Those of us who go to college make more money than those who do not go to college. Get a good job, participate in your company's retirement plan. If they company match, take full advantage of that because it's like getting free money. Put as much down as you can when you buy your house. A 15-year mortgage saves you more money than a 30-year mortgage. Pay as much extra as you can to pay it off as fast as you can. They say to invest. Okay, first, who's they? And what do you invest in? The stock markets? The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. Don't buy your next car. Why would you finance an appreciable asset? Instead, lease it. Are they going to change the title of the car salesman to car leaseman? These are just some of the phrases that most of us know so well. They have been programmed into all of us all throughout our lives, but I want to interrupt this programming and get into some common sense thinking about our money. How about hanging on to our hard-earned money? How about learning how to use it, how to recycle it, and how to grow it without any risk or taxes? The most important concept to understand is you finance everything you buy. You either pay interest to someone else or you give up interest you could have earned elsewhere. There are no exceptions. Okay, let's break this down. You finance everything you buy. Okay? You either pay interest to someone else to use their money. Okay, everybody knows that when you use someone else's money, right, bank credit cards, bank loans, you're going to pay someone else, the bank in this illustration, interest to use it. The second part of this key component, which is a lot harder for most people to understand, is that if you use your own hard-earned and saved money to pay cash, and then you give up interest you could have earned elsewhere. I call this the I pay cash crowd. So let's look at the I pay cash crowd. You work so hard, and then you work so hard and stayed so disciplined to save. And great job, by the way, for doing that. That puts you way ahead of most people that are struggling, just trying to get by. But because you paid cash, dun dun dun, you give up interest you could have earned elsewhere. So, I pay a cash crowd, listen closely, because you are the ones that are so close to becoming so wealthy so easily if you grasp what I'm about to share with you. And honestly, it is only going to take a few little tweaks to get you on your way to becoming an even wealthier person. All right, let's say that you saved $50,000. Okay, side note, let's address the numbers that I'm using. For some, the numbers might be way too big. And for others, the numbers may be way too small. So take a 0 or 2 off, or add a 0 or 2 on. But please seek to understand the strategy that I am using. Okay? You saved $50,000 because you wanted to pay cash for a vehicle. And let's say that instead of buying that vehicle, okay, you kept the $50,000. And let's say that you kept the $50,000 somewhere that paid you 4% per year. Oh, okay, hang on. I saw your reaction. 4%? I say you could be making, when we're only currently making like 0.003% in our savings accounts today. So I'm using the 4% number because I know where to put your money to get a 4% guaranteed growth with no tax liability. Okay. And so let's say that the money would stay there for 30 years and it would grow to $165,674.90. Okay. Let's take the original $50,000 out. And we'd be left with $115,674.90. This is the amount of growth that you would have enjoyed from that $50,000 had you kept it. Now, there's a term that describes what this $115,674.90 is. Most people, okay, heck, most businesses do not even know what that term is. But knowing, recognizing, and understanding this term should change the way we respect our money. The term to describe this $115,674.90 we would have been able to keep is called lost opportunity costs. There was $115,674.90 lost opportunity costs associated with this situation. Now, I know that there are so many variables that could come into or be in play, but let's, as my pilot mentors always say, let's look at this from the 30,000-foot view and not get lost in the weeds or the details. I know that you wanted to or had to buy the vehicle, but what if there was a way to have this vehicle become a vehicle, okay, kind of pun intended, to grow your wealth rather than, oh my gosh, what are the leasing salespeople asking now when you walk into the car showrooms? Why would you finance a depreciable asset, they'll ask you? Well, I finance a depreciable asset, or I finance my own vehicle because it makes me a lot of money, is how I answer them. Usually they stand there a little stumped and confused, and sometimes in desperation, they'll reply, oh, good thing all of our customers aren't like you. Well, can I finance your depreciable asset? Oops, getting off focus. Car purchasing and leasing is a whole other video. But this brings us to the second most important concept, that everyone should be in two businesses. The one that puts money into your pocket and the business of banking that you use to finance yourself. Let's break this down. Everyone should be in two businesses. The one that puts money into your pocket is fairly straightforward. You need a job or a business or whatever you do to create an income, make money, bring home the bacon. And then you need to be in the business of banking that you use to finance yourself. Is an extremely difficult concept for most people to grasp. Now, please do not get me wrong here. It is not difficult to learn, nor is it difficult to implement. As a matter of fact, remember, it's almost like it's so straightforward that sophisticated people overanalyze it and miss it. But once again, yes, I'm climbing back on my soapbox. Everything in our society is devised to not support this type of thinking or implementation, because it would literally destroy the corner bank as we know it. Okay, I know so far this has been pretty intense for most people. So it'd be okay with you right now to let me try to put a smile on your face? Yes? Cool. Take a breath. Close your eyes. And if you don't want to close your eyes, just try to imagine. What if you could have every penny of interest that you ever paid back in your pocket right now? How would that make you feel? Did I get you to smile? How does it make you feel imagining that every penny of interest you ever paid could be back in your own pocket? I smile every time I ask that. You got to be smiling thinking about it. That's what I'm trying to do here. Teach you how to keep every penny of interest in your own pocket, in your family's pocket, in your family's bank pocket. The business of banking that you use to finance yourself is the absolute most important lesson and concept to learn and execute. And it is not that hard to learn and execute. Remember, it's almost like it's so straightforward that sophisticated people overanalyze and miss it. Why am I so passionate about this? It'd be okay for me to quickly point out some more information that fuels my passion? Yes. Cool. Out of every dollar that the average American earns, 34.5 cents of it is gone right away to pay interest. Thinking about this with an investor hat on, 34.5 cents on $1, which is 100 cents. So therefore, 34.5 over 100 is 34.5%. If I can simply eliminate using someone else's money, I could save, or it could be considered earning, 34.5% with just that. So to me, simply learning how to save and or earn 34.5% seems to be so much smarter and so much more realistic than ever trying to make 34.5% in the market. I tried investing, which is what all the gurus and money professionals kept telling me to do with my money. But I could never make any real money, let alone 34.5% in my pocket after taxes. Everybody knows that in order to make big returns, you have to take big risks. And I am not okay with taking big risks with my hard-earned money. Using this strategy, every penny of interest you would ever pay would be back in your own pocket. You, your family, and your future generations would never have to walk into a corner bank again. And I can't think of a more incredible financial situation to be in. So the next question in this natural progression that everyone always asks is, how do I get into the business of banking? Remember, this is not a difficult thing to do, but there are 3 things that you will have to do to get into the business of banking. You ready? Number 1, be willing to learn. There's an old saying that minds are like parachutes. They work best when fully open. Another one of the biggest hurdles that most people have trouble getting over is not let previous preconceived notions that they have developed about money stand in their way of learning the real truth about money. So quick example, 15-year mortgage will save you more money over time than a 30-year mortgage. While most people believe this to be true, it is not. My point, be willing to learn, have and keep an open mind. Number 2, execute what you learn. I heard somewhere that you can acquire all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't ever act on what you learn, nothing will ever change. I can teach you exactly what to do to become extremely wealthy, but if you do not ever execute what you learn, nothing will change in your financial situation. Number 3, be disciplined. Learning and executing are the first 2 steps on your way into the business of banking, but the full benefits can only be realized after practicing continuous, disciplined banking actions, meaning you have to develop a new habit of becoming your family's banker and move away from the bad habit of thinking and acting like a borrower. Thinking and acting as a borrower is not your fault. Once again, it is our society that is programmed, that tries to program us to think and act like a borrower because following their rules about money makes them rich. It's about time for us to start using our common sense to make ourselves rich. The big question. If it is so simple, why isn't everyone doing it? I've recently become aware of a great saying that applies to so much of life, truth and grace. While the truth can be a bitter piece of information, something we might not or don't want to hear, it does have to be handled in a way that will be acceptable to the person or persons hearing it. And to me, that has become delivering truth with an equal amount of grace. Grace being that while maybe the truth is this, we're always just one decision away from changing our truth. So with that being said, most people work 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours or more a week to earn their money, but then will not invest the time to learn the most important aspect of their finances that will free them from living a life of financial confusion. And that important aspect is the business of banking and financing themselves. Then, of those that will invest the time to learn the business of banking and financing themselves, most of these people will then not spend the time to bank and finance themselves. So, looking at this slide, it becomes fairly obvious and sad to me that the simple answer as to why most people will not free themselves from a life of being in debt to someone else and start building their own legacy of family wealth is simply because they will not spend the time necessary to do so. So imagine and think about, what is it worth to you if every dollar you pay in interest could be back in your own pocket? You could create a large enough family bank that you and your family would never have to use the corner bank for financing ever again. You could create guaranteed retirement funds that will be there whenever you need it and leave windfalls of money to your next generation. All this could be done without any risk or taxes. How much time would you dedicate to learning and implementing a strategy like this? I know I spent a lot of time leading up to what I'm about to share with you, and it's because this is truly the most important financial concept to ever learn and execute. I know that if anyone would exercise what they are about to learn, it would completely change their financial future, their family's financial future, and all their next generation's financial futures. And that is my hope for you. So with that being said, let's get into how to grow your money without any risk or taxes. I'm going to be using a simple shoebox. What's really cool is that sometimes when I talk about using a shoebox for building wealth, people say, hey, I'm already using a shoebox for my money now. So it just reinforced my decision to use a shoebox to illustrate how to grow your money without any risk or taxes. There are different stages or phases that we go through with our finances. While we're working, we are in or should be in the stashing money or savings phase. Side note, if you're not stashing or saving, please see my other video about spending less than you're making. The stashing or savings phase is simply when we're putting as much money as we can into our shoebox. The accumulation phase has already started happening at the same time, which simply means that the amount of money in our shoebox is starting to grow. Side note. Can we put a pin in this slide? Yes? Why, I can hear you asking. So the reason I want to put a pin in this slide for now is that I want to point out and really address a key factor right now. While there's also an accumulation phase going on now along with the stashing and savings phase, using a simple shoebox will never allow us to come anywhere near how fast we can accumulate money, taking full advantage of an accumulation strategy that I want to share with you, but not yet. For now, would it be okay to stick a pin in this? And I promise we will revisit. I hear you shaking your heads, yes. Thank you. So, as we were stashing away and saving in our shoebox, we have an amount of money that is in our shoebox and available to us, the amount saved. The amount of money available to us comes from our individual ability to stash and save. Please understand that it does not matter how much you have in your shoebox. It is understanding the concept or strategy that is so important at this point. Remember, it's almost like it's so straightforward that sophisticated people overanalyze and miss it. Let's grow our money without any risk or taxes. For money to grow, it has to be moving. Money in motion makes money, and only money in motion makes money. So how do we get our money moving? Then we increase the speed at which our money moves through our possession, which will increase the speed that our money will grow. How many of you want to increase the speed that your money grows? Yes, me too. You've stashed and saved and accumulated $50,000. Remember, take a zero or two away, add a zero or two on. Don't let the numbers take you away from the strategy. Okay? The $50,000 for that beautiful vehicle, the beautiful vehicle that you have dreamed about. So, You take a deep breath. You empty your shoebox. I can feel that pain of emptying the shoebox. And you pay cash for it. Now, right here, in the next few moments, this determines if you will respect your money as much as you respect the corner bank's money and become your own wealth builder, or if you'll just give up interest you could have earned elsewhere and go back to square one and start stashing and saving into that now empty shoebox again. Right here is where you can decide to become the banker and start using your debt to make you wealthier than you could have ever imagined. So right here is where you become your own banker and ask yourself, how would you like to finance this purchase and pay back the 50 grand you took from the shoebox? The new you banker, borrower, sets your own terms and says, I'll pay $9.61 a month. So $9.61 a month gets paid back into the shoebox, which is 11,532 years of back into the shoebox. So I have a question for you. After making a year of payments, do you have $10,000 back in your shoebox? Yeah, you do. You actually have $11,532 back in your shoebox. So let's take that $10,000 and buy a couple of four-wheelers. Right here is where the new banker borrow asks, how would you like to finance this purchase and pay back the $10,000 you took from the shoebox? The new you banker says, I'll pay $441 a month. So now you put the $441 a month back into the shoebox, which is $5,292 a year back into the shoebox. So I have a question for you. After the second year of paying on the vehicle, and after 1 year of paying on the four-wheelers, do you have $10,000 back in your shoebox? Heck yes, right? We actually have the $11,532 from the vehicle, plus the $5,292 from the four-wheelers. So we have $11,532 plus the $5,292, which actually equals $16,824 back in the shoebox. So let's take the $10,000 and buy a new pool. So once again, right here is where the new banker borrower, asks yourself, how would you like to finance this purchase and pay back the $10,000 you took from the shoebox? The new you banker says, I'll pay $233 a month. So you now pay $233 a month back into the shoebox, which is $2,797 a year back in the shoebox. Let's take a look at what happened. We started with $50,000. We paid a total of $69,192 back into the shoebox of the vehicle. We paid a total of $10,584 back into our shoebox for the four-wheelers. We paid a total of $11,188 back into our shoebox for the pool. So $69,192 for the SUV, plus the $10,584 for the four-wheelers, plus the $11,188 for the pool, brings us to a total of $90,964 back into the shoebox. Does that blow your mind? It did. Mine. The first time I ever saw this, over 10 years ago, I was in Salt Lake City. I remember thinking, holy crap, this is what the banks have been doing to me. No wonder I don't have any money. I figured out what the percent of increase was in the shoebox. It comes to 82%. 82%. This is amazing, yes? Was there any risk involved? Nope, no risk. So just to recap, what just happened? We started with $50,000 in our shoebox. We took out 3 loans from our shoebox. And taking loans is pretty easy since the loan officer, I kind of know him. We paid every payment, principal and interest, back into our shoebox. Our shoebox grew from $50,000 to $90,964. That's an 82% amount of growth without exposing our money to any risk. We always had control of all of our money. We did not expose any of our money to taxes. Imagine making 82% gains in the market or somewhere that this growth would be taxed. How much would you really be left with after taxes? In a tax environment, how much profit would you have to make in order to be able to be left with a profit of 82% after the taxes? Side note, obviously the exact numbers and tax laws and tax information pertaining to taxes should be acquired from a tax professional. I wanted to share this really simple strategy that, did you catch it? The corner banks have been using on us. I am so passionate about paying it forward to you as so many have paid it forward to me. We put a pin in a slide a few slides back talking about the accumulation phase, and I promised to return to that subject. I said that using a simple shoebox would never allow us to come anywhere near how fast we can accumulate money, taking full advantage of an accumulation strategy that I want to share with you. There's somewhere much better than a shoebox to hold and accumulate money. Would it be okay to take a few more minutes of your time to show you a comparison? Yes? Cool. The shoebox allows us to stay in control of our money, allows us access and use of our money, does not expose our money to any risk, does not expose our money to any taxation. But the shoebox, plus even better, is somewhere that our money grows at a guaranteed rate, 4%, which is why I referenced the 4% growth we could have had in the lost opportunity cost example if we were able to keep that $50,000. The shoebox plus even better is somewhere that will still pay us dividends on our money. Catch this, even while we're using it. Wait, what? Everyone loves this part, and actually most people have a really hard time understanding it. Think about it this way. Since everyone understands 401ks, what if you could use the money from your 401k and yet it still grew like the money was still in there? Want to know more? I'll bet you do. It's also somewhere that will transfer a large amount of money to beneficiaries tax-free, allowing continued multi-generational wealth building. Most of you are wondering where this could be and what would allow for all of this to be able to happen. And some already know. It's called an overfunded participating whole life insurance policy from a mutual company that supports and uses a non-direct recognition dividend calculation. And that's a mouthful. But by trading the shoebox for one or many of these policies, we can build wealth at an incredibly faster rate. Let me share why I traded my shoebox a few times for overfunded whole life insurance policies. The shoebox was just the container that I kept and accumulated our money in. Think of these specialized policies as just the same as the shoebox with many more advantages. These are specialized containers that we can safely keep our money in. But we always have access to the money that is in them. They grow our money guaranteed. The growing money in them grows untaxed. And the most unbelievable fact about these policies is that the money in them still grows even while we're using the money from it. But there is more about this in another video. So that I hope I was able to put the pieces together for you. You should now know how to grow your money without any risk or any taxes. You can start doing this in less than 10 minutes a week. Invest your time in becoming your own banker. Spend time in your own business of banking. Start financing yourself and then your family. I hope this helped.